Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that you love, and create actual amazing relationships. Jade Warshaw, #1 best-selling author, Ramsey personality, is my co-host today. The phone number here, if you folks want to talk, is 888-825-5225. Maria is in New York City. Hi, Maria. How are you?
Hi, I am so excited to be on with you both, and thank you so much for taking my call, and you two are my favorite combination, so thank you. How are you guys?
You say that to everybody. You say that to all the personalities.
Never.
What's up today?
Oh, my goodness. So really excited to speak to you. I know I'm walking into the bear cage, very nervous, but my husband and I, we make a combined income of almost $300,000. And we're living paycheck to paycheck. We have 2 kids. We have been Ramsey-ish for about 2 years, but life keeps getting in the way between funeral expenses for family. Our daughter has severe ADHD, and it just feels like we cannot get ahead long enough to be able just to follow the steps and the plans. And it's causing a lot of financial anxiety. And I can go into background and anything that you need to help just me figure out how to move forward with the amount of money that we have and living paycheck to paycheck. It's foolish.
Yeah. Well, it's distressing for you, I can tell. And so you live in an expensive city, obviously.
Yeah.
And obviously you've got an expensive medical condition that you're dealing with. And those 2 things go in the budget, and they show up in the budget. Some ways they show up in the budget. So where do you think the problem is? If you were to write, I assume you've attempted some kind of written budget.
Yes, I have Every Dollar premium version. I have notes in front of me. So our budget. So here's what seems to be happening. We do have a budget. Could we be better at it? Absolutely. But what keeps happening are these large large bills, if you will. So about 1.5 years ago, our mother passed, and we covered the funeral expenses.
Why? Why did they not have arrangements to cover her funeral expenses?
Unfortunately, and this may be where my financial anxiety comes from, my parents raised a very large family on a single income from my father, and did not have financial, responsibility, basically, and just really. So
there was absolutely no assets in the estate.
Correct, exactly, none whatsoever.
What'd you spend on the funeral?
About $13,000.
Okay. And so you said big things keep coming up. So the funeral was one. What's another example of something that's coming out of the blue?
Yes. So my brother just passed away, sadly, a couple of weeks ago.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. I know it's been a rough 2 years. So that's another expense. But in between then, what has come up
you're paying for that funeral too?
Correct.
How are you? Are you cash flowing it? What's that look like?
So that was, this is where my problem is, because all I want to do is cash flow it, and it feels that I'm not able to.
Your brother's different than your mother. Why is no one?
Correct.
Is he single?
He is single.
Or was he?
Yeah, he was. Sorry, he was single. And really, right now, out of a few of us kids, it's my sister and I are really the only ones that are the most financially stable.
Okay. So how much did you pay for your brother's funeral?
$8,000.
And you did not pay cash?
Correct. We put that on a credit card.
Okay.
And I do.
So that didn't bust your budget. It broke your bubble, but not your budget. So why can't you live on $300K?
That's why I'm calling.
No, I'm serious. When you write down your budget, what's the problem? Because you're looking at it in front of you on every dollar.
Right. And
where's the freaking money going?
These are 2 isolated incidents. What's been happening over the years? What do you see? Where do you see the problem?
When you look at month to month, you got $25,000 minus taxes coming in. And so you got, you're dealing with $20,000 or so to live on.
Our take home is $13,600 a month.
There's something wrong with that.
That doesn't feel right. Is that minus
That's
investing?
half of what it ought to be.
So I bring home $8,000. My husband brings home $56,000. He pays for insurance out of his check, and we both do contribute to retirement.
How much?
Right now.
well,
okay, that's the
stop.
problem.
Yeah, 15%.
You have no money. You don't put money in retirement. You're stop.
Yeah.
Stop and get it budget. And what else have you got? Have you got big tax refunds coming?
No, we owe every year for the last couple of years. So now we've asked our employer.
Hey, how much is your rent or your house payment?
Our mortgage is $2,700.
Okay,
it's not out of line. Okay.
Yeah.
And how much are your car debts?
We paid off my husband's car, and mine. I have $8,000 that we're looking to pay off as well.
What other debts do you have?
We have 2 credit cards. Our total debt, including this funeral now, is $17,800.
You don't have much debt, so that's not where it's going. It's not your house payment. That's not where it's going.
Do you have kids in daycare? Lots of kids?
Well, we have 2 children, and that's what I was going to get to. It's like, how do we so our daughter's ballet, it's ridiculous. I'm afraid of what your response is going to be. It's $10,000 a year. Our son plays
That's not the problem. That's not the problem either. I'm trying to figure out what's eating
$800 a month.
Yeah, what's eating up $20,000 a month, and I haven't seen it because you have $8,000 on the car. These credit cards. What's the payment on the credit cards? What do you pay every month? Nothing.
So here's what we end up. No, what we seem to be in the cycle of is banking money and then paying off the debt, right? Trying to do the snowball.
Yeah, because you're trying to make up your own freaking plan. So let me ask you, what do you do for a living? What's your husband do for a living?
He is a teacher, and I'm a school psychologist that moved into administration. So I'm a principal.
Okay. All right. Both of you are in administrative type roles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so if I hired you and said, balance these people's budget that make $300K, you could do it. Mm-hmm. It's not an intellectual circus. It's not that hard.
Right.
So you could do it, but there's something you aren't working together. You're not willing to say no to eating out. You're not willing to stop your retirement savings. You're not willing to get, to sit down and let's get this. This thing has to balance. You're not in Congress.
Yeah. I know.
And you guys have to look at this with a more serious eye. It sounds like it sounds like you keep circling around the airport and have refused to land.
Yeah, because if she's really saying that the only debt they have is $17,000 in credit cards and $8,000 in cars, that money's she's not telling us.
They're spending money on $10,000 here on ballet, and then the ADHD was probably 10 or 15 grand on something they overdid, and so you overdo everything, and you're living drama to drama, crisis to crisis, and you're letting that stuff dictate your life rather than you dictating to that stuff. And so let's pretend you didn't have any money and your brother died. Well, who's going to pay for the funeral? I guess it wouldn't be you. So we have to start thinking about these things, we're going to do the $1,200 cremation. This is what happens if you die and there's no one to take care of you. The state will cremate you. That's what happens, okay? And so I'm not suggesting being that cold, but you guys got to start looking at some of these things and quit calling them all. These crises are taking precedent. And you've got to take precedent over the crises because the budget becomes king, and the two of you have to be working on it together. I don't think he's real involved here. Hey, technology has changed a lot in the last 30 years. Now the hot topic is AI, and I understand that it might seem intimidating. But if you use AI the right way, it's just another tool to help you work smarter and faster, like a calculator or a cordless drill. So if you run a business, you'd better get on board with it before you get left behind. And NetSuite by Oracle offers AI-powered tools that help small businesses improve efficiency and make smarter decisions by bringing all their major business processes into one platform. That way there's one source of truth for the real-time data you need to take advantage of opportunities. Then you can forecast better, scale more efficiently, and streamline those manual tasks that take too long. So join the more than 41,000 businesses, including Ramsey Solutions, that rely on NetSuite to help tackle some of their biggest challenges. And right now, you can download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's free at netsuite.com/Ramsey. Amanda's in Greenville, South Carolina. Hey, Amanda, what's up?
Hey, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. How can I help?
Thank you so much. Well, I have a question about some family finances. My husband and I started Financial Peace University about a month ago, and in doing so, I uncovered some things about some family traditions with money that his family has that is making me a little bit uncomfortable. Like yesterday morning, he got a text from his mom saying, "Hey, you owe us $100." And that happens quite frequently throughout the year, probably maybe 5 or 6 times a year. I'm trying to figure out.
For what?
So there's a family lake house, and like taxes on the lake house. I think the most recent one was for the tailgate parking spot. Sometimes it's for, if we've spent the weekend with them, it's for food from the weekend, which we don't mind paying for those things, but it's an after the fact type of thing.
Is he one of the owners of the lake house?
No, he is not.
And the tailgate spot, that sounds like a football thing.
Correct.
So somebody purchased the spot, and if you use it, you have to pay back that person. Is that what it is?
Well, we have a different spot. We buy our own spot for the year.
Why would you pay for theirs?
Well, that's my question.
Okay. And why is it you're just now discovering this? How long have you been married?
We celebrated our 3rd anniversary on Tuesday.
Okay.
So how much does this amount to? Is this like $100 a month? Has this happened like twice in the year? What does it amount to?
So for the tailgate spot, it's $100, and that would be for the year. But it just always, it's never something I expect. And it's always been something that he paid until we combined our finances a month ago. Oh. It was something that he just paid for out of his money. And thank you to John Deloney, Building a Non-Anxious Life, because it really helped us to get on the same page with this stuff.
Good. Okay. So when you say to your husband, this makes me uncomfortable, what does he say?
Mm-hmm. So he actually had a conversation with his mom last night saying, no more of this retroactive stuff of you guys spending money and then us paying you back. You need to have a conversation with us up front. And her response was, "Are you sure you want to do this budget thing?"
Okay. That was not the statement. The statement was not about our budget. The statement was, you have to tell us in advance or we're not going to pay you.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
She doesn't get a vote on your budget or your marriage or anything that happens inside your house. She's the mother-in-law. By definition, that means she does not get a vote. If anybody doesn't get a vote, it's her.
Yeah, how does she even
Of all the people on the planet, she's the one that has the least chance of getting a vote.
Well, right.
I'm serious. I mean, the worst position you can possibly be in is to be the mother-in-law for the son. It is the weakest position on the planet and the most power-hungry.
Okay. And I do realize it's a difference in culture from my family. I was raised by a CPA.
But that's not the point. The point is your husband said to someone outside your home, "We will not accept surprise billings anymore." And that's the end of the story. Period.
Okay.
And by the way, you did do this right. He talked to her. You don't need to be brought up in this because you'll become the evil girl that took her baby boy away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I learned that from listening to your show for about 2 weeks now. So
okay.
Thank you.
So that was very good. Good. I'm glad you caught on to that.
You're doing it right.
And here's the thing. It's okay. I mean, you guys can be gentle about this. You don't need to be harsh about it because it's not a lot of money. It's just an emotional boundary violation.
Right.
And it's just, Mom, we don't want to be in a parking spot for tailgating. We have our own. She got, it's the deal. And if we're going to do something in the Ramsey family, we got a lake house. I'm going down there this weekend. Same thing. If we're going to do something, and Sharon, my wife, gets tired of doing all the cooking. So she emails the girls including the daughter-in-law and the 2 daughters, and says, whoever's going to be here, y'all need to talk about what you're going to cook, because I'll help you, but I'm not going to do it all. And you guys we're going to figure this out a little bit. And so you're all like grown women and stuff. And so this is, and the girls go, okay, yeah, we'll chip in. And they don't mind doing that. We talk about it up front, but we don't send them a bill 2 weeks later for catering.
Right. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. What do you think about the taxes on the lake house? I mean, we do.
That's what I wanted to know about that.
Why would you be obligated to pay taxes on someone else's lake house?
Well, that was my question, because it's not, my husband's name is not on the house.
That's why I asked.
That was kind of my question, yeah.
So you can pay the taxes on my lake house if you want. Since you're paying for other people's lake houses, I mean, why not?
Right.
That's about as dumb.
I agree.
When you asked your husband, what did he say? What was the reason? What did he say?
Did he make a promise that he would do that?
I don't think so. I think it was just an implication when they built the house. You know, he was in college, and I think that's just kind of how it's ended up.
I mean, when you're in college and your parents build a lake house, they don't call up and go, you got to pay taxes. You're in college.
Yeah.
These people are weird. Okay.
And not the good kind of weird.
I know. It's not a good Ramsey weird thing. So, I mean, no, we don't pay taxes on somebody else's lake house. And I don't know how this tradition started, but it's a weird tradition, and it really needs to stop.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's not a tradition.
Okay.
No, it's a tradition for these people.
I guess.
And so they have some weird things they do, and, you know, we've just got to, but you can be gentle about it, okay? You know, I'm being a little bit bombastic because it's a little bit absurd, and I want you to hear it's absurd. But you guys can be gentle about moving away from it. Mom and Dad, look, we're working hard on this stuff. We're trying to get ourselves out of debt, and it's your lake house, and I'm no longer comfortable paying the taxes on your lake house.
Okay.
And you know, I'm gonna let you know that way in advance, so this fall when the taxes come due, you're not caught off guard. You know.
Is it part of you being able to go and hang out there several times a year? Is that what it is? Is it just the
No? Well, it shouldn't be.
Well, I didn't think so until I found out that was the expectation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's the expectation. You come and use the lake house
about a month ago.
You get to use the lake house twice a year, and in return, you pay how much? How much are the taxes?
I think my husband, when I looked it up on the county records, it said something like $4,000 for the year, and I think he paid like $300 or $400 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, do these people, they're not able to afford the lake house? Is that the problem?
Well, I told my husband, I was like, you know, if it's a lifestyle that they can't afford, then they shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
But and I try not to be critical, but when you dip your hands into our finances, then.
Well, how often do you go to the lake house?
Right to be critical.
Just you guys?
Maybe 5 weekends a year.
Yeah, if you know, if the deal is you don't get to go to the lake house because you're unwilling to pay $300 a year rent to use the family, in air quotes, lake house, then that's a decision you all can make. But basically, you're being asked to pay some of the expenses because you're using it as a rental.
Right.
And if you don't want to use it, then that's their decision might be that they don't want someone who's not willing to pay to come. And that would be okay. If that's how they want to do it. They're running an Airbnb for the family, I guess. I don't know. But a cheap one, but it's still that. But I've got a lake house, and I pay the taxes. Nobody else pays the taxes, regardless of who visits. Okay? John Deloney was down there one time, and I didn't ask him for any rent. You know, so, you know, I mean, that's just... You have guests at your lake house. If you do a deal up front and the family is a family partnership to buy something, but you don't do that with a college student.
No, it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like they said, if you're going to use our house, you're going to give me some money.
These people are very intertwined, and they don't have good, clear boundaries. And so it's time to untangle some of this. But now you need to be fair that if they may not, if you're not willing to chip in on the expenses, they may not want you to use it.
5 weekends is a lot to give up for $300.
And that's a fair expectation on their part. They may say, look, only those that chip in can use it.
Yeah, because then that's them saying, hey, while you're there, you're paying basically the utilities while you're there.
I don't think I could go there, but I mean, I do tell, like whoever's down there next weekend when I'm not, fill the dadgum boat up with gas when you leave. Hello?
Yeah.
I do tell them to do stuff like that, but my kids,
Yeah.
my grown kids, that's such an oxymoron.
Adult children.
The adult Ramseys, yes. the Gen 2. Gen 2 can fill up the boat with gas.
You should leave the place better than you left it.
By the way, I don't also say you can't come back if you don't do that.
That's true.
Either. So,
That's true.
Storming and we forgot to do it. Whatever. Whatever. Wow. Some people's children. This is The Ramsey Show.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. All right, we all know this. The world is going bananas, and we're under huge pressure to perform and look like we're keeping it all together. Check this out. 76% of people globally agree that mental health care can help resolve personal problems, yet 6 out of 10 people still believe that society discourages people from asking for help. Listen to me. Real strength, I'm talking real bravery, comes from opening up about what you're dealing with and then doing something about it so you can be your best for yourself and for everyone else that you care about. If you're feeling the weight of the world, please talk to someone, anyone, a friend, a loved one, a family member, or a therapist. I see a therapist every week. If you're thinking about trying therapy, contact my friends at BetterHelp. BetterHelp is 100% online therapy, so it's affordable and convenient for your schedule. To get started, just fill out a short online survey to get matched with a licensed therapist. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch therapists at any time, and it's easy and it doesn't cost any extra money. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Ramsey Radio to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Ramsey Radio.
If you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck and wondering where your money's going, first step is a plan. It's called a budget. And our team is hosting free budgeting trainings this month. Did I mention they're free? You learn step-by-step how to make and stick to a budget using every dollar, and you get your biggest budgeting questions answered in a live Q&A. Sign up for free. Did I mention it's free? At everydollar.com/webinar. Jessica in San Antonio. Hi, Jessica. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Well, I am currently I'm a single mom, and I have been trying to tackle my debt for the last couple of years. And this summer, I had thought, hey, I'm going to try to really do it aggressively, get a second part-time job while the kids are out of school, and work on that. Right before summer happened, or summer came, child support stopped coming in.
Uh-oh.
So my second job pretty much brings in the same amount as child support, so I'm kind of right back where I was.
What are you doing to get him activated again?
At the moment, there's really nothing I can do because it just happened. So it's like a wait and see. If months go on that he doesn't pay, then I can start. Yeah, I mean, it's like an on-again, off-again thing with him. So not the first time I've been here.
How much is the child support?
It's about $900 a month.
How many kids you got, kid?
I have 2.
What age?
13 and 11.
Okay. How long have you been single mom?
Probably going on 10 years now.
Wow. You've been fighting this a long time.
Yeah.
So
what do you make?
I make about $54,000 a year.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Are you plugged into a good church?
I am.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. And who's watching the kids while you're working so much?
They sometimes will stay home if it's a short shift, or they'll be with friends or my sister.
Oh, good.
That's good that you have that
Kind of
hope.
depends on who's available.
All right. And what do you do for a living?
I am an office manager for a physical therapy clinic.
Okay. Good for you. Well done. All right. And so your core question is what again?
How to avoid burnout while trying to do all this.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You've made it 10 years with avoiding burnout. And it's really an incredible thing that you've done, because that's been a tough slog. The math that you're giving me is no easy walk, okay? So you truly are a warrior princess. I mean, you've been doing it. And the burnout comes when you don't think there's any light ever at the end of the tunnel. It doesn't come from it being hard. You can do hard. We know that by just hearing your story. But the hard becomes burnout when you don't think it's ever going to stop. Well, we know it is going to stop because you got a 13-year-old 5 years from now. That one's done.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, we know that's going to stop. And the other one's 11, so, 7 years from now. So we know, that there is an end to this in terms of the weight of raising children by yourself financially. And so what I would do is two things, and Jade, you jump in here, but one is I'm always looking at both sides of the equation, the income side and the outgo side. You have a good income, but it's not great. So I want to start thinking about over the next 3 to 10 years or 5 years or whatever it is, what I'm going to be doing that makes me $100K. I don't want a 38-year career as the office manager making $50K.
Right.
I don't mind. It's a good job. It's stable, and you're probably a great team member. Mm-hmm. But I want to know, okay, what is it I'm going to do to own one of these, or what is it I want to be in the next phase? And I'm going to start studying and taking the classes, get the certifications to do that thing, and have a long plan. And that helps with burnout because you can see out there into the future that there's something to do. And in the short term, do what you're doing, and that is add income by a great side hustle. And the side hustle has one definition: which one makes the most money if it's moral and legal?
Yeah.
Because the side hustle is not for purpose of your career. It's how can I make the most possible money in an hour that's moral and legal.
Yeah.
And so, and then that helps. And then lastly, I would just say the secret to happiness is low expectations on child support.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because this guy's not a good dad. He's not a good provider. He never has been. It's been a pattern. To expect this money to come every month is not reality.
Setting yourself up
and
for
so when it does come, I'm going to go, wow, that's awesome. I'm going to act surprised every time it comes. You there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think that Dave is right. I think when you're in survival mode, you don't feel like you have the luxury to really think career-wise, what is it that I would really love to do? What would it look like? There's really no time for that. Just when you're struggling in life and financially. But if you can carve out that time and do that, because we say all the time, there's two components to this puzzle. And one is, to cut your expenses massively, which you've done that. That's been your whole life for 10 years. And then the other piece of that is you do have to get your income up, and not just side hustling, but really looking at that core income. That is a journey over time.
Have you got debt you need to clear?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
What is it?
Right now it is, with my car, I'm right around $20,000.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's an expensive car for your situation. Yeah. You may want to look at moving down to a $10,000 car.
Currently, I owe... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Currently, you owe what?
I owe $9,000 on my car.
Oh, I thought you said you owe $20,000.
Oh, no. Total, including my car.
Oh, okay. That's good. Okay. The car's a keeper then. That's okay. And what's the other $11,000?
That would be credit card debt.
Yeah. That's caught your slack when you were surprised that the child support didn't come.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not going to be surprised anymore.
And I didn't always have this job.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you've been pushing through. I know who you are. I've worked with you for years. And I think you're very impressive. I think you're a lot more impressive than you feel.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you. I mean, you raised 2 kids in San Antonio, Texas by yourself with not much help from Goober, and not regular help anyway, right? And he's still playing games a decade later with his own children, which makes him a shameful individual, right? And so, and in spite of all of that, you've continued to get better jobs, move along, and this job's an upgrade from the last one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so we're going to keep doing that. We're going to keep doing that, and you're going to get there. And when you get there, you're going to be so strong that nothing will knock you down, because you're building strength with every step of this journey. That's what I meant. I wasn't joking around when I said you're a warrior princess. You're in a position, Jessica, I remember many years ago we had Financial Peace University. We used to do, the way we would do it is after I would teach live in those days, we would have a small group discussion and we'd get in a circle. And I remember a single mom in there, younger than you actually, who was cutting hair. Mm-hmm. And she said, I don't think I can make it. I'm burning out. I'm not making enough cutting hair. And I'm sitting there trying to figure out what to tell her. And a lady across the circle says, "You're going to be okay." She says, "What do you mean?" She goes, "I was you 20 years ago. I used to cut hair. Now I own the shop. Now I got $500,000 in the bank."
Yeah.
In the mutual funds. Mm-hmm. And I'm here to just figure out how to become a millionaire. And you're going to be okay, hon. And she walked her right through it. And I was like, dadgum, there's your future sitting across the room from you.
Yeah. You just need to see that it's possible.
Exactly. Statistics show that half of Americans don't have enough life insurance, or they don't have any at all. I don't understand this, John. Why don't people want to take care of their family? They think they're going to die or something?
Well, I used to be one of those guys. I didn't even think about it. And one of my buddies said, "Hey, the only reason to not have life insurance is if you hate your wife and kids." And I immediately went and got term life insurance.
That's a gut punch.
And you're telling me, and for decades, Dave, I've sat across people who've lost a spouse. They've lost somebody important to them.
Me too.
And they don't know what to do next.
Me too. I mean, you're going to have a crisis here. And, you got 2 options while you're sitting and talking to a young widow. She's concerned about how she's going to invest all this money properly and not mess this up, or she's concerned how she's going to eat tomorrow.
That's exactly
These are the
right.
2 options.
And
take care of your dadgum family, man.
Term life insurance can replace income, pay off debts, cover funeral expenses, so your family can actually have the opportunity to just be sad.
Yeah.
To just miss you.
That's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's saying I love you to your family. Term life insurance. Jeff Zander and the team at Zander Insurance makes it easy and affordable. I've used them personally for 25 years. They're the only people I trust. Go to Zander.com or call 800-356-4282. Sarah is in Seattle. Hi, Sarah. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Mr. Ramsey. Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. How can I help?
Okay, so I just started following you, and but it was too late. I already made a huge mistake last year by buying a second home. And if you don't mind, I can just give you a rundown of like my financial situation.
Well, what's your question, hon?
Okay, so I had a condo in Seattle that I live in. Mm-hmm. I paid $2,300 a month for mortgage plus HOA, mm-hmm. And then last year I freaked out because I'm from Florida originally, and my parents are older, and I have a plan of moving back to Florida. And so I freaked out because of the housing situation kept going up, and I felt like if I waited, I would get priced out of market. So I went ahead and bought a second home in Florida at the top of my budget.
Oh, gosh.
And the mortgage for Yeah, the mortgage for that is $4,000 a month.
Well, sell it.
And it's now I'm in negative equity. I make my take-home pay is $8,600 a month.
Yeah, but I mean, why can't you sell it?
Well, because now the price has gone down, and I already spent $50,000 in the past year because I couldn't rent it for whatever reason.
Who said the price went down?
Yeah, so now it's like maybe...
No, who said that? Because the prices in Florida have not gone down. What are you talking about?
No, where it is, according to Zillow, and I talked to a real estate
Zillow is
agent,
not a reliable source on anything.
Okay.
Okay.
When did you buy? How long has it been since you bought it?
I bought it May 1st, 2024. I closed on it. Then I tried to put it on the market to rent it, but it's been empty for 13 months. I just finally got a renter last 2 weeks on June 1st. But they're still negative. So $4,000 mortgage a month, and they pay $2,700.
Do you have any money?
I have $50,000 in savings, and then some in 401k.
Okay. Go to RamseySolutions.com and click on Real Estate ELP. Look for a Ramsey Trusted Real Estate Agent. Have them come out and look at it, get it on the market, and get it sold. If you have to write a $10,000 check to get rid of your mistake, do it. You have a problem here that is not going to get better.
Okay, even now that I finally, after 13 months, I was able to rent it, and I mean, I'm still in the hole, but better than what
This is a ticking time bomb. It's going to blow up on you.
Okay, so...
You cannot afford this house. You cannot afford for it to be empty. You cannot afford for the heating and air to go out. You cannot afford for the roof to leak. You cannot afford to evict the tenant when they don't pay. This thing's going to choke you out, girl. It's just a matter of when.
Having a renter doesn't solve the problem, because at any point that could leave, and then you'd be right back to where you are right here today. Do you see what...
I totally I understand, but that's the only thing. My fear is that I understand I made a huge mistake, but because, okay, so I spent $23,000 in closing costs. Now I have to spend another...
I don't care what you spent.
That's stupid tax.
I don't care what you spent. You lost that money because you did something stupid.
Okay.
This thing's you're gonna lose more money if you stay in it.
Mm-hmm.
So you think even if I'm 100,000 under...
You're not 100,000 under.
Okay. Even though I've been spending $4,000 a month for the past year.
Right. No. I'm talking about what you can sell it for versus what you owe on it. What do you owe on it?
$428,000.
Good God. And what do you think you can sell it for?
If I'm lucky, I think maybe $530.
Okay, sell it. You put money in your pocket.
I think you have to just realize, Sarah, that this is a mistake, and mistakes cost you. And in this case, there may not be a way to get back the money that's lost. You're doing well if you can break even. You're doing well if you can sell it and get a little bit of money.
We're trying to stop the bleeding, not reverse the fact that we had a car wreck. We're just trying to stop the bleeding, because you're going to bleed out. This is not a good thing. Now, I've done a lot of stupid stuff in my life, hon. And when I do something stupid and it costs me money, I write on the check in the for column, as I write the check for my stupidity, I write for stupid tax. Dave did something stupid and he has to pay a tax called stupid tax. You're going to pay some stupid tax here. You're going to get some of your money back, but you're not going to get all your money back. And you're going to get out of this trap you have set for yourself. Nothing in the decision-making process that you used was wise. You panicked over a real estate market. You ran to the other end of the United States and bought a rental property, and then you're shocked that it sat vacant.
Yeah.
And you overpaid for it, probably. So, hon, you do what you want to do, but you called us, and we're telling you very clearly what to do. If you don't go do it, it's going to be your next bad decision. So you just decide what you're going to do. It's up to you. I've done plenty of stupid stuff, and I can recognize stupid a mile away, and this was a dumb decision. Okay? You're not dumb, but this decision was desperate, unwise, and you got yourself into a bear trap, kiddo, and you best get away before the bear comes. This is not good.
Well, it was all fear-based. She did the first one out of fear-based, and now she might not get out of it for fear, fear that, you're going to...
No, let me tell you, you don't... When you look down and you walk away and you go, okay, I put $100,000 in my pocket, but I spent $160,000 for that opportunity, And so I got 100 of my 160 back or whatever the number is. And you look down at that $60,000 worth of stupid. That's what you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to face that. That's called facing the music, right? And nobody wants to do that. I don't want to look down and go, this is what my stupidity cost me. I don't like looking at that. I want to avoid that if I can. That's human nature. That's not unusual for you, Sarah. I'm not picking on you. But, honey, you know, all you're doing is arguing with me. You called me up and said, I'm in a mess. And I said, yeah, you're in a mess. Why don't you get out of the mess? You said, no, I want to stay in the mess. I don't want to argue with you about it. I want you to get out of the mess. That's what we're here for, is to help you. Harrison is in Indianapolis. Hey, Harrison, how can we help?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Dave.
Sure. What's up?
My question for you is, I've listened to your show for a long time, and you talk about doing a 15-year fixed rate mortgage.
Exactly.
My question is, if it's okay to deviate from your plan, go for a 30-year mortgage and do extra payments on the principal, with the understanding that you always do an extra payment a month to basically level out, so you're paying the same that you would on the 15th. That makes sense if you're tracking.
Well, it's certainly not illegal, but would we suggest it? No, we would not suggest it, and here's why. We've done research, and 100% of the 15-year mortgages pay off in 15 years or less. Almost none of the people that do your plan pay off in 15 years or less. As a matter of fact, the FDIC says from the Federal Reserve that statistics that 97.5% of mortgages are not systematically prepaid. Meaning doing what you're doing systematically would be monthly adding the amount to make it a 15, the equivalent of the 15. When you add the amount of a 15-year payment to the 30-year payment, it will pay off in 15 years mathematically, but no one does it because prom dresses and transmissions.
Right. Well,
which is why you want to do that, right? Because you want the flexibility of
not paying it.
Not paying it.
Fair. I mean, I would argue my situation is a little different than.
Yeah, you're going to beat a 97% odd. That's not a wise argument. I'm not going to set myself up to do that.
Yeah, and I'll set
myself up to where I have automatic discipline.
Yeah, I like that. And by the way, everybody thinks their situation is different. I just want you to know that, Harrison. I know you're not there anymore, but everybody thinks their situation is different.
No, it's not. You don't have a situation today that's going to exist 30 years from today or 15 years from today.
Now, if you are...
The rate of change in this culture that we live in, do you understand what happened in the last 15 years? I mean, there was no iPhones.
True that.
Come on. I mean, you understand what has happened. The rate of change. Cars used to drive themselves 15 years ago. This is crazy, y'all, the world we live in. I mean, there was no such thing as a podcast. YouTube was only cats chasing lasers. That was it.
Oh, gosh.
And now it's the primary broadcast medium in the world. I mean, come on. Netflix was sent DVDs to your mailbox 15 years ago. Blockbusters was still open 15 years ago. You cannot anticipate 15 years from now, much less 30 years from now. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. Anna is in San Francisco. Hi, Anna. How are you?
I'm good, Dave. Happy to talk to... No, I'm not happy, but glad to talk to you.
Well, you too. How can we help today?
So I have a question. I am in a very complicated position right now. Thinking about filing Chapter 13 bankruptcy or take a second loan towards my house. It's a long story, but I'm going to try to make it short. And I apologize if I say anything English incorrect. It's my second language. So I'm married, have kids. We had the whole debt situation. I found you in 2022. We got into doing the plan together. By May of 2024, we debt-free, paid off like $80K. Just owned the house. It was wonderful. So my husband started talking to friends about cryptocurrency.
Oh, boy.
And he started invested, start small, start making money. He made a big move behind my back. He took a big loan of $200,000.
Oh, my gosh.
And he invested that money in crypto XRP, Trump coins, and other stuff. He told me after he did it, I panicked. I was in totally panic when he told me that. And that was March of this year. And I thought things couldn't get worse. And it did. He got a phone call. He was expecting a phone call from the company he was making the whole Bitcoin thing. The name of the company was Pionex, Pionex, Pionex. He was doing crypto with this company, and he had over $200,000. He also had $50,000 from his mom that he was investing, so it was like $250,000 total.
How did he find Pionex? How did he find them online?
His friends.
He talked to his friend. I don't know for sure if it was online. But he got
scammed. Is that what you're getting ready to tell me?
He got scammed. Yeah.
So he lost his mother's $50,000.
He lost everything, and we don't even own the $200 that he lost.
Wow.
Yeah, and we can't pay those $200,000.
So where did you bury him?
I'm still digging my backyard.
In his mother's backyard, probably.
Yeah, that would be a better
Oh my
call.
God! So what is your household income?
About $10K a month.
Okay, and what do you owe on your personal residence?
$400,000.
And what is it worth?
It's like $700.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And what does your husband make a year?
He brings home about $10,000 a month.
And has he owned this, that he was unbelievably deceitful, lying behind your back?
Yeah, that was a big lie.
And never going to do it again because he's stupid?
Yeah, we thought about that. He called me stupid, said that he didn't understand
the only thing stupid you did is marry him.
Wow.
Yeah. He told me he was going to be a millionaire and he's going to make our family a millionaire, and that I didn't have to worry about it.
Instead, you're calling somebody about filing bankruptcy. So has he owned this so that it doesn't happen again?
He did, Dave. The only reason why I didn't walk away yet is because he told me, crying, he begged me to stay, and he told me that God took this money away.
No, God did not do this. You don't blame God. Don't blame God when you're stupid.
I know, but just the way he's thinking, like God take the money away.
No, that's not a good way of thinking. He needs to own it. I'll tell you what took the money away. He took the money away because he was stupid. He needs to own that or he's going to do it again. If you blame it on God, then what are you going to blame it on next time? The devil?
It's manipulative.
Right. Yeah. He said that, and he told me he was like a punishment for going behind my back. So I was like, if you really think that's a punishment for going behind my back,
how about just being an adult from this point forward?
Yeah,
that'd be just fine. We don't need a punishment. We need a grown-up husband.
He made two mistakes. He took out a loan and then he did it behind your back. Those are
you've
two
already
mistakes.
paid off $80,000 when both of your brains were working at the same time. You know how to do this, and so now you pay off $200,000. How did he borrow $200,000? What did he put up as collateral?
We did the plan. We were doing good. He had good credit, I guess. When the house, he has equity in the house.
Did he borrow against the house?
No, he didn't. He just loaned it like 23 here, 23 there, 147 there, different location, and he ended up with like 193. It wasn't, close to 200.
So these are like credit cards and personal loans?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
The entrance is super high, it's like 23%.
Yeah.
And not
Interest
only
is not
that,
your problem. Stupidity is your problem.
Yeah, I know, but the payment's like $5,000 a month.
You've already paid off $80,000, and you did that in 18 months. So you know how to do this.
Can you, are you, I hate to ask you to do this, but are you working at all?
I'm not right now. I'm waiting for my kids. I'm already making application because my kid's going to go back to school. I will as soon as they get back to school. I was working and helping. That's how we get out of debt.
Yeah, we're going to do it again.
But then right now with the 5,000 payments of...
You're not bankrupt.
I'm not bankrupt.
No, you're not bankrupt. You make enough money to clean this up. And you can either pay it, you can put it as a second mortgage on your house. I really don't want you to, and then pay it off there. But you're keying off on how big the payments are. You need to be paying $5,000 a month.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be painful, and
you need to be paying $6,000 a month. That's how you're going to get out of this. $6,000 a month, $72,000 a year.
The hardest part of this entire journey, it's going to be hard to pay off the debt, but every payment, you're going to have to work on how you feel towards your husband and what that means for you guys, because with every payment, the resentment has the ability to grow more and more. And each time you go to your job that you feel you shouldn't be working right now, that resentment has an opportunity to grow. So you guys have to get into some sort of therapy, something to work through this, because things still aren't right. I can tell.
Oh, yeah. Well, they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be.
Oh, my gosh.
We've got massive stupidity, and we blamed it on God. And it's unbelievable. I mean, God's looking at you going, not my deal.
Yeah.
I didn't do this.
Yeah.
The only thing I did is make you. That's the only thing I did. How come every time you're on the air, I get these crypto calls?
I don't know. I was thinking the same thing. This is a problem.
It's a pattern here.
It's a problem.
You're gonna, like George and horses and crypto and Jade.
I guess so.
I don't know, man. This is the Ramsey Show.
What's up, guys? It's Jade. And let me tell you, when my husband and I had $280,000 of student loan debt, we were not sitting around waiting on the government to bail us out. We did the hard work to pay it off ourselves. So if you're still holding out hope that forgiveness is coming, that's like you waiting for your landlord to start paying your rent. It ain't gonna happen. If you really want those student loans gone, you need a plan. And for some of you, refinancing might be part of the plan. So I recommend Laurel Road. With Laurel Road, you can get an initial rate quote in less than 5 minutes. And if you have a more complex situation, you can set up 30 minutes to talk to a real, actual human being to find out if refinancing is right for you. Ramsey's advice is clear. Get out of debt as fast as possible. And a lower rate or a shorter term can make that possible. Laurel Road has low competitive rates, and they even offer interest rate discounts. So stop waiting on the maybes and the somedays and start taking action today. Go to laurelroad.com/Ramsey to get a free rate quote or schedule a free 30-minute consultation. That's laurelroad.com/Ramsey.
Buying or selling your home's a big deal, and between clickbait headlines and confusing data, it's tough to know what's actually going on in the housing market. Right now, the average house price, the median house price in America is $431,000. That means half of them are more expensive in America and half are less expensive. That's what median means as a statistical measure. Nearly 1 million homes on the market right now. That's the largest inventory of for sale homes we've had since 2019. 6 years. A lot of houses on the market, and house prices are not going down. They've been continued to go up. Interest rates have gone down. They're a little under 5.9% for a 15-year fixed right now. So if you want to know about housing trends and you're trying to get yourself situated to get your home bought, that's a good idea. Go to RamseySolutions.com/market or click the link in the show notes, and we'll help you. The whole thing's free. Claudia's in Chicago. Hey, Claudia, how are you?
Hi, how are you? I'm good.
Good. How can I help?
I was just calling in to see if it would be more reasonable for me to get eloped with my fiance in the coming year or to have a wedding. I'd love to have a wedding. No one in my family has had one. And between my sister-in-laws and my sister, they regret it. They all eloped. It was more feasible. It was more feasible and financially the savvy thing to do. But I'd love to have a wedding, and a very small one, intimate, about 50 to 100 people on my parents' property.
What would it cost?
Less. I'm estimating less than $15,000 from me and my fiance. Our costs, I know that both of our parents would definitely want to pitch in and help.
Okay.
So
do you have the money?
Lower than that. See, yes, I'm so terrified of going into debt. So I am 23 years old. I paid for my college myself. After graduating, I started making about $70,000 a year. Now I'm at 75. But I am applying to medical schools this cycle. So that income is going to go away, and that's what scares me because I know I'll be taking on loans in the future. And my fiance, he makes about the same as me, so about 72 right now.
So do you have any money saved?
I have $30,000 right now of my own in a high heeled.
Yes, I would spend $15,000 on a wedding.
Yes.
Yes, I would.
It's not insane.
Yes, absolutely, I would.
Okay. Yay. Okay. Well, thank you.
I absolutely would do that.
Simple.
Yeah. And here's why. It's a small percentage of your world. And it is, in terms of your mathematically, it's a small percentage of what you make, what you have, what you've done, what you've already accomplished at 23. It's a very reasonable, and the average wedding in America is approaching $30,000 right now.
Yeah.
Okay, just to tell you the averages. Doesn't mean you have to spend that, but that's the averages. So you're half of average, so you're being reasonable, you're being very calm, and, oh, by the way, you're paying cash.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I 100% would do that. Now, can I give you a recommendation?
Absolutely.
The project that has the most scope creep, other than building a home, is a wedding.
Yes.
You start out with 15 and you look up and it's 45.
That is true.
Because you get nickeled and dimed, and you get with the people on the reception, and we get the nicer mushroom caps and whatever, right? And, the old wedding movie with Steve Martin, the cheaper chicken, right? And so that whole thing. So what you need to do is, if $15,000 is your budget, you need to write that at the top of the page, and you need to say, okay, how do we build a wedding for $15,000? That means the videographer can get no more than X, the dress will cost Y, the reception food is going to be Z, and you get a total number of dollars down the page by category that totals up to no more than 15. And then when you meet with the caterer and they say, oh, well, we could do, no, I'm sorry, this is what I can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you go look at the dress. There's always a dress that's more expensive. There's always a videographer that wants to shoot a Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
Okay. There's always, and instead I got my friend with a still camera walking around, and you're going to be okay. And, we're going to pick flowers in Mama's front yard on the farm and whatever. I don't know, but you just decide where you're going to spend this money ahead of time. Otherwise, you'll look up and it'll be 20 at least.
Yeah. I've already started like a little spreadsheet. I bought my dress. I love it. I'm not picky. As long as I'm in white, I could walk down in like a trash bag and he'd say I do. So I bought a dress.
We knew he was going to say I do, because this is a smart guy. Okay. That's not the question. We don't need trash bags. The point is your spreadsheet is the exact thing you need to do.
Yes,
and this is how you got through school without debt. You had a plan.
Correct.
And this is how you do a $15,000 wedding, not an $18,000 or $28,000 or $48,000 wedding. You do it with a plan. It's it's a project, and it has line items down the spreadsheet, and then you stick to that budget. Or if you spend less on one item, it gives you more to spend on some of the other items. But either way, we've got a budget, a project budget here that we're running. And when you run a wedding that way, it doesn't take the romance out of it. It does take all of the opinions of friends, relatives, and mothers out of it.
That's the good part. When you pay for it on your own, nobody else gets a vote.
Well, she said maybe mom and dad were going to chip in some, but that doesn't mean they get a vote. They just get to chip in. And so, all three of the weddings that the Ramseys did, that's exactly how we did them. They all three spent, I think they all three spent it all.
Oh, wow. That's good.
I gave them a budget. I gave them an amount. I said, you do it. And we're going to put it in a separate account, the wedding account, and you guys stick to that. And I want to see the spreadsheet, and I want to see you sticking to it. But other than that, I'm not going to tell you what to spend it on. But don't come in here afterwards and go, we're $5,000 over. And I don't want to hear this crap. So, you guys just be like grown-ups and stuff. You're not in Congress. And so you can't just make this crap up as you go. And that lady right there, she's going to be incredible. I mean, 23 got through school debt free.
Yeah, but she said she plans on taking debt to go into college, to go to
medical school. Yeah, that's true.
That's a mistake.
That is a mistake. Yeah, I would work around that. But the rest of this call was excellent. It was excellent. Very, very well done. All right. Christian is in Raleigh, North Carolina. Hey, Christian, how are you?
I'm good, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So, I have a question for I guess you and other maybe people listening about, they started their own business, they're, doing well, but how do you manage debt and to get out of debt when, you're running your own business and maybe the paychecks aren't as consistent and sporadic? And
it's not the lack of consistency that matters, it's the size of the check that matters.
Right.
If they're inconsistent and small, you got two problems. But if you get $300,000 every 4 or 5 months, you probably make it out okay.
Right, and I've started my business 2 years ago. I build furniture and custom cabinets, and I've been maintaining.
What's your net profit last year?
About.
No, what'd you pay taxes on? It shouldn't be an about. You should have filed your taxes. What'd you pay taxes on last year?
I think it was right at $62,000.
Okay, all right. And what do you think you're going to do this year? That's profit?
Yes.
Okay. That's what you paid taxes on, your income. All right.
Yep. And this year, I'm aiming to shoot for 100. Right now, I'm about 40.
What causes it to be sporadic? Is it a seasonal thing?
Well, obviously doing cabinets is a very streamlined production, but sometimes I do custom furniture, and it's like reinventing the wheel for every project. So sometimes I say, it's going to take, a month, and it takes 2 months. And
is there a way that you can kind of set your pay on the lower end of the spectrum and learn to live off of that? And then the times where you're able to take more, it's just kind of a gravy? That's what I would do.
Yeah. I've tried. I've done that, and
Christian, if your production line is running twice as long as you thought it was going to run, you don't have a money problem. You got a business model problem. You're not estimating your jobs correctly. So you'll get better at that. You'll get better at that as you go along. But it's easy to live on $60,000 a year, whether it's irregular or not, in Raleigh, North Carolina. It can be done. And so that's what you've got to lay out, is just lay out a game plan to do that. And then watch your cash flows and watch your estimating and your production times.
Hey, you guys, if you're looking to save big on groceries without sacrificing quality, you've got to check out Aldi.
That's right, Rachel. Because let's be real, I'm bougie, but I'm also frugal. So
You're bougie, George.
Thank you for admitting it. So why pay more for the same stuff just because it has a fancy label? Aldi shoppers save up to 36% on a typical shopping trip over name brand products at other stores, which adds up to about $4,000 per year for a family of 4.
It's crazy, yeah. And you know what? Their organic produce, their fresh meats, and even their private label, it's all delicious. So it's good quality stuff that's not going to bust the budget.
And the best part, no membership fees, no gimmicks, no headaches, just a simple shopping experience with the lowest prices of any national grocery store.
So beautiful. Okay, so stop paying more and start shopping at Aldi. Find a store near you today at aldi.us. That's ALDI.us.
In the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage, Dustin and Tara are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
We're doing great.
How are you?
Welcome. Where do you guys live?
Palm Bay, Florida.
Just south of Cocoa Beach.
Okay, very cool. Well, welcome to Nashville. And how much debt have you paid off?
$287,766.
Wow. And how long did that take?
7 years.
Oh.
Good for you. And your range of income during that time?
It started at $100,000. I changed roles at work, went down to $70,000, and last year had an amazing year at $500,000.
Wow, that's significant.
Sweet. Sweet income. So what do you guys do?
I'm a stay-at-home mom.
And I'm in power generation sales.
Oh, okay. All right. So it just took off, huh?
Yes, last year was a really good year.
Yeah, phenomenal. So is this your house?
It was.
Yay!
Yay! Look at the weird people. House and everything, baby. Woohoo! What's this house worth?
$250,000.
Well, that's what we started out in 2019. It's around $450,000 it's worth now.
Oh, okay.
Doubled.
Yeah, wow. Very good. And how much in your nest egg these days in your retirement?
Probably around $350,000.
Okay, so you're bumping up close to $1 million net worth.
Getting close.
Yeah, way to go, man. Baby steps millionaires, paid off house, and you're young. How old are you?
I'm going to be 44.
And I'm 39.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
Excellent. Wow. So what happened 7 years ago? Tell us about this Ramsey journey thing you've been on.
Well, I took a different job, and I was running a truck up and down the road a lot with the company, and I was on, as much work as they could give me, I was taking it. And I listening a lot of talk radio and heard this crazy guy on the radio. And the more and more I listened, the more and more I heard other people do debt-free screams and talk about this weird thing of not having debt. I really piqued my interest.
Yeah. So 288, was that all the house or was some of it other stuff?
Some of it was little consumer debt. She brought on when we got married. It was a lovely marriage gift. And then 2 small car loans.
Okay. So you knocked those out pretty quick and then tore into the house.
Tore into the house.
I love it. Very cool.
So what'd you say to get Tara on board with this guy that you heard on the radio?
We actually used FPU at our local church as almost like a pre-marriage thing, but she was on board, and I think that was really our path to success was, she was gun-ho, she was willing to do every dollar and do everything else and just stay on a budget and work through to seeing that, what our goal in the end was to be debt-free.
Okay, so you'd already heard of FPU through the church.
Yeah, I heard it on the radio show, and then we weren't attending that church at that time, but that was the closest facility to it. So we started, I kind of brought up Dave Ramsey, and, we wanted to see what it was about and took FPU, and, that was a great course to have.
So, Tara, you went into financial peace because this truck driver talked you into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
And when you were in there, what did you see that made you decide where this is okay?
Well, there were other couples in there that shared their story, and they seemed happy. Sorry.
It's okay.
I have a tissue.
It's okay.
They seemed happy and successful, and it seemed manageable. The whole debt snowball thing, starting off small, building momentum.
Yeah. How's it feel to have no house payment, guys?
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's great. I have anxiety, and always kind of felt like I had to stick with a certain job or do a certain thing because there's this big house payment looming, and we never want to move or be out on the streets or just have to deal with that. So not having the house payment is just such a relief, knowing if we want to stay, we can stay.
Yeah.
Yes.
You own it.
Blessing.
That's great.
Yes.
God is great.
It is. That's amazing.
What was the hardest part?
He worked a ton. I mean, day, night, just constantly working. Really, pushing.
Yeah, there was a lot of hours put into it. Like I said earlier, if it wasn't for her being on board with it, it would have been a lot harder than it was. But, with me working, sometimes if I had to work third shift or 16 hours or whatever it was, she kind of, again, saw the goal and just, there was no complaining. She knew what we were doing or why I was doing it and what we were trying to achieve.
Was it worth it?
Oh, yes.
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 Yeah.
And I mean, the Every Dollar app helps me constantly to this day. I love it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I tell everybody about it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But you know where you are. And you're in control, and it's a sustainable situation, and stinking house is paid for. Y'all are heroes, man. Way to go. And you've changed these little kids' family tree. Well done. So how old are the kiddos? Bring them up and let's introduce them. What are their names and ages?
We have Ellie, who's 9, and Daniel is 7.
All right. Very good. Good-looking guys. Very cool stuff. So what's the first big thing you're going to do now that you're almost millionaires and you got a paid-for house?
Well, we used this trip to come up here. We drove up and we stopped. She was always wanting to see the Biltmore. So we stopped at the Biltmore and then spent the last couple of days in the Smokies. The kids got to go to Dollywood. So this was kind of our little family celebration, making our way over here.
Yeah. Dollywood's a hidden gem.
It is.
It's excellent.
We're right outside of Orlando, and that is the most amazing theme park we've been to.
Yeah, very cool. Good for you guys. Very well done. Proud of you. Who was cheering you along the way?
I had some coworkers that were inspirational to me, or actually owned the company I used to work for, and it was great, being able to talk to them as being successful people. They were definitely Ramsey fans. They were pushing. They understood. It was it was great, So they definitely were inspirational for me.
Yeah, wow, that's good. Very cool stuff, guys. We're proud of you. Very well done. All right, it's Dustin and Tara, Daniel and Ellie. Cocoa Beach, California area, $288,000 paid off. House and everything. We're looking at some 40-year-old-esque, almost millionaires. Will be very, very soon. And look at these beautiful children. Their whole lives are changed. Their family tree has been changed because Dad paid a price and Mom made it work where Dad could pay a price. This is a team effort right here. Very well done. Proud of you guys. You're heroes, man. Excellent. Count it down, guys. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. We're debt free!
Yeah! Wow.
What a bump. 100,000 to 500,000 in 7 years.
He kicked it.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So here's the thing. What's interesting in God's economy, it's just, I'm positive that right now on Sirius XM or on podcast or maybe even YouTube, there's a truck driver out there.
Yes.
That's not married, doesn't have 2 beautiful children, and is listening to this former truck driver, now in sales, with 2 beautiful children and a beautiful wife and a paid-for house and almost a millionaire 7 years later. That's called hope.
Yes,
These people standing here, they personify hope. And that just got transferred to you out there. And I don't know who you are that you're driving right now, but I'm positive out of 40 million people that listening to this particular broadcast that at least one of you is driving a truck right this second.
It might have less than $287,000 in debt.
Yeah, might have. And might, yeah. So the thing is, and here's the trick. Daniel and Ellie can look back at this video several years from now and go, well, that's when it happened. That's when the old man and the old lady did it. That's when everything turned the corner. Because they just left Biltmore.
Right.
Which is the Vanderbilts.
Yeah.
Okay. So somebody's got to be old man Vanderbilt. Somebody's got to start it, right? And you're looking at them. They just started it. That's how it starts right there. It's exactly how it starts. Somebody's got to be old man Rockefeller. Somebody's got to start it. Those things, they weren't born. Now, there's a couple generations after we're born with the money, but the original Commodore, he didn't have no money. That's that's where Biltmore comes from, and that's where Vanderbilt University comes from. It's where the Rockefellers, somebody's got to start it. Why not you? This is the best place in the history of humanity. It's called the United States of America for the little man to get ahead and become the next guy who's not, the next gal who's not the little man. But it's your decision.
There's a time in your life and the baby steps for renting, but you don't want to do it forever because when you rent, you're still paying for a mortgage, just somebody else's. Plus, rent means instability in your budget because it always goes up, never down. So when you're ready to buy, make sure you work with a mortgage partner you can rely on. Churchill Mortgage. Churchill is Ramsey trusted to help you make the move from renting to home ownership wisely. Churchill understands that when you buy a home the Ramsey way, your mortgage payment will be a consistent, manageable part of your monthly budget. Plus, when your home is paid off, that was your largest expense. Now it's extra money in your pocket and an asset towards turning you into a baby steps millionaire. Get started on the American dream of home ownership today at churchillmortgage.com. That's churchillmortgage.com.
Hey, we put some stuff together to help you, because if you're trying to explain this Ramsey thing to a family member who doesn't understand, or a friend that doesn't understand, it's hard to get it all out. They can't get it all in their brain. So what we did is we put together the Ramsey 101 playlist. It's free and it's easy to share, and it covers the basics for somebody who's just trying to figure this Ramsey thing out. Stuff like the baby steps, the debt snowball, the emergency fund, working together with your spouse, all that kind of stuff. All these clips are on there, and here's how you can share it. Click the link at the top of the show notes to open the Ramsey 101 playlist on YouTube. Text it, DM it, send it in a group chat. Just say, hey, this is something that's helping me. I thought you might enjoy. If you're listening on the radio, we've got the playlist featured at the top of our YouTube channel. So jump in on the YouTube channel and you can see the Ramsey 101 playlist. Think of at least one person in your life and share it with them. It's all completely free. It's just kind of a compilation of best ofs almost. Not best of, not most entertaining or weirdest calls, but the ones that actually give you the information and show you what to do, okay? And I think it'll be helpful to you. That's what our hope is. That's why we put it together. Robert's with us in Virginia. Hi, Robert. How are you?
Okay, Dave. Thanks for asking.
Sure. How can we help?
Well, I've got a question about Chapter 13. I know that I've been listening to the show for a few months now, and I know that you say that bankruptcy is like a divorce, kind of a last-ditch option, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't know anything about divorce because I've never been married, but my home is my second mortgage is currently in foreclosure. A sale date has been set. I got about 5.5, 6 weeks left before the sale date. I've been here once before, about 7 years back, when I had a business go under, and
why are you behind on your second mortgage?
Well, I got hit by a tree last year. I climb and cut trees for a living.
Oh
gosh. I'm about to turn 65 here in about 2 months. And last year in March, I got hit by about a 3,000-pound trunk. It's not the first time I've been injured on the job, but this one took me out for about 2 months. And I fell behind on the primary, and I kind of let the secondary go, trying to catch up the primary. Just as soon as I got back to work, I drive like a 31-year-old Ford pickup, and and that broke down, and it took about 5 weeks to get it back on the road. So I fell further behind. I won't go into all the sad songs, but basically,
are you okay now?
I got permanent nerve damage up and down this right side of my body, but everything else healed.
So are you back to work?
Yeah, I am back to work, although my truck just broke down again last week. I was trying to...
So you don't have an option of missing any more work. How much do you owe on the first mortgage?
About $180.
What do you owe on the second mortgage?
Well, they say 55, which is weird because I only borrowed 52, and I've been paying on this house for almost 20 years. And I added up what I paid to them. It's close to $90K that I've given them. But
what's your interest rate on the second?
Well, now it's low. It's like 3.75, and my primary is 3.0. But originally, when I bought this house,
when you were working before the accident, did you make enough to pay both these mortgages?
Yeah, usually, but since I got over 60, I started slowing down, and during the winters, I've been having a hard time keeping it up.
What's the house worth?
That's the thing. It's really worth about what I owe on it.
About $235,000.
Yeah, 240 maybe, but they've got it hyperinflated on Zillow and stuff. They got it at like 370. It's got some land and stuff, but the house hasn't had any updates in almost 20 years. So
Zillow's not relevant. But I also think it might be worth more than you think it is.
Well,
the reason I think that is I don't think the second mortgage would have bothered to foreclose if it was only worth $235. They believe it's worth more.
That's because the county had some new tax assessors out.
For second mortgages don't go off of county assessments. They go off actual value. Because when they take the thing back, county assessment doesn't matter. They got to turn around and sell it and get their $55,000 out of it. How far behind are you?
Well, in the second one, I only owe them like $2,000, but they've added about $2,000 in lawyers' fees.
That's typical. That's a normal. That's standard. That's not.
And I'm 2 months behind on the primary right now. My thing was I was going to try to make enough money. Like I said, I was here once before in 2018, and that's when I stopped doing what I was doing that was losing me money, and I borrowed a chainsaw from a buddy, and I got out my old climbing harness and ropes. Was about 30 years old because I hadn't climbed and cut in 30 years, and I started doing trees again, and I made about $11,000 in 5 weeks, and I was able to reinstate the mortgage.
Yeah, that's about what you're going to have to do this time, but the problem is after you do that, I'm not sure you're making enough to keep it.
Well, the thing is I don't think I can make enough this time because the problem is, Dave, since the accident, I haven't been able to work as much.
Now, can you do something else?
Well, that's what I was planning. I took some courses last year, and I got a certification in another field that should be able to get me a job. It's not going to be super high paying at first, though. It takes time to build up an income in that field.
What field is it?
I don't really want to exactly say. It's kind of not exactly healthcare related, but it's kind of along that line.
Okay.
But
I think you need to get into something that's steady and predictable soon.
I agree with that, and I was planning on, like I said, I was actually going to go and interview last week, and then my truck broke down. So now I actually was outside earlier trying to get the truck running again.
Okay, the reason I'm asking you all these questions is that Chapter 13 is probably not going to work for you. It will stop the foreclosure temporarily, but as soon as it does, you will have to start making payments on the first, on the second, and on the arrearage on both. And all is built into the system. They get 100% of their money, the $2,000 lawyer fees, all the back payments, all the late fees. They get 100% of their money, including current payments. And you're having trouble even paying current payments. And so I don't think and so if you go into a Chapter 13 and you don't make the monthly payments that include the current payments plus payments on the back stuff, that's a lot for you. If you don't make those, they're going to kick you out of bankruptcy, and you're going to be in foreclosure again.
I understand that, Dave, but it's like if I lose the house, I've been fighting to keep this house for almost 20 years. If I lose it, I'll be 65 and homeless and penniless.
I don't want you to be that, but my point is Chapter 13 doesn't solve your problem. It doesn't keep you from losing it. What keeps you from losing it is an income.
Well, that's why I'm trying to get into this new line of work.
Yeah, it didn't sound too promising to me. It's underpaid, is what it sounded like.
It starts off slow, and I was also thinking maybe I would apply for Social Security early and add that to it. And
yeah, I think that's a good idea. And I think you go down to Target and you start working 40 hours down there, $20 an hour.
Yeah, I mean, they don't pay that. They don't pay that here. Well,
yeah, they do. They pay $20 an hour all over the nation. So does Walmart.
Okay, well, I've been down to Walmart and I've been looking at all the jobs. Everything here is $15 an hour. You can get 17 at some places, but
yeah, there you go. All right. I mean, that's what you got right now is almost nothing. You need $2,000 right now to get or $4,000 to get this thing stopped, and then you need to get the first mortgage current. And you need to get those things, and you need to run around like your hair's on fire and get those two things done, and then you need to keep the house current. That's going to be a less strenuous plan to keep this house than the Chapter 13 will be. And I'm telling you, the Chapter 13 sounds like it's magical. It's not. It's going to put more strain on you the way it's structured, because you have to pay 100% of the payments plus payments on all this back payments. And you can't do that with the situation you just described to me. And you're going to get booted back out, and then they're going to be coming down your throat in foreclosure again. So you have got to solve the income problem, and the best way to do it's now. It's your only option. That or sell the house. And I like the other option better. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Jade Warshaw, #1 best-selling author, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Lucy is with us in San Antonio. Hi, Lucy. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
Well, my question is, how do I move forward from the shame and regret from losing my $136,000 Roth IRA?
How did you lose it?
I met a Christian woman at a Christian women's conference, and she started talking to me. She was on stage. She was one of the speakers, and so she started talking to me, and she just followed up with me. And people were asking her why she does what she does. She started crying and saying that she just wants to help people, and so she set up an appointment, followed up with me, and told me about her real estate investment opportunity, which basically, to my understanding, they buy apartment complexes, flip them, and she promised, basically guaranteed, double my money in 5 years. And if you do exactly what I tell you, you'll be a millionaire in, maybe 10 years, which I was already on track to be a millionaire in 10 years. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but
So how old are you? Lucy, how old are you?
Now I'm 47, and at the time when I met her, I was 44.
And how much money you lost $130,000? How much money do you have left?
So my husband and I, we got married 2 years ago, and with our combined finances now, I had 2 rental properties. He had his house, I had mine. So we sold all the houses, and with my teacher retirement and everything, we now have $640,000 invested with a Dave Ramsey approved financial planner.
Okay.
And we have $50,000 in an emergency fund.
So how can we help today?
She said, how do I get over the shame?
I don't trust my judgment anymore. I don't know how to move forward from this. I don't know how to stop looking back with the shame and regret. I just don't know what to do.
When you get your home, when someone burglarizes your home, and they come in, you come home and the drawers are all open, and they've been through everything, and they stole your jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
It's trauma.
Yes.
And this is trauma.
Yes.
You're still describing this woman as Christian, and obviously she's not. She's obviously
not at all.
She's obviously a con artist. And even the place where she was speaking is questionable because they let her on stage.
Exactly, yeah.
So there's nothing Christian about this. You thought it was at the time, but it wasn't. Yes. Okay, so
yes.
So when I went bankrupt and we lost everything because I was stupid, we lost 100% of everything.
Mm-hmm.
You lost 130. You still got 600. Okay.
Yes.
But when I lost 100% of everything, I had to decide, okay, what is the definition of Dave? What's Dave's identity? Am I a bankrupt idiot? Or am I a guy who chose to believe some lies called borrow all you want on real estate, nothing down real estate, let's buy all the real estate we can buy, and it bit me in the butt because the whole concept I believed was a lie. So I'm not stupid, but I did some stupid things. I've also done a bunch of smart things.
Okay.
And so I have to decide the windshield is larger than the rear view mirror. And that's called grace.
Okay.
So 32, 34 years ago, whatever it is, no, God, it's 36 years ago now, 1988, I filed bankruptcy. But that's not my defining moment. It's just the bottom of that valley that we went through because of my stupid choices. Wasn't Sharon's fault. Wasn't the bank's fault. I signed up for it. The banks did some things wrong. Sharon did some things wrong, but 99% of the reason we lost all that money was me.
Mm-hmm.
So then I just got to decide, okay, am I going to walk in grace towards myself and other people who have made mistakes? And I can still call stupid, but I don't have to call me stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You did you got conned. Okay.
Yes.
For various reasons. I would want to look into my soul and ask what I felt. Why would I fall for this? Was I scared? Was I greedy? Why did I fall for a con? Because you got conned.
Mm-hmm.
And in the story you told me, you've done 26 things that were smart and one thing that was dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Pretty good ratio.
Yeah, when you put it like that, yeah.
You know, I mean, you're going to be a millionaire. You're only in your 40s. I mean, you've done one really stupid thing, 26 really smart things.
Yeah.
And I bet you won't fall for anything like that ever again.
Never again. And now I can smell it a mile away. I look at people online now and I don't wonder what the secret sauce is anymore. I know it's all a facade. I know it's a lie.
There you go.
Yeah. But now we're trying to decide whether to buy a house or not or wait. And I'm scared to make another decision.
Well,
and I'm just kind of
I
frozen.
I think it'd be normal. If you had a car wreck, you're scared to drive.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean we don't drive.
Yeah.
Walking's hard.
Mm-hmm.
So, get back on the horse, kiddo.
Okay.
You're smarter. You're smarter than this one decision.
Okay.
I'm smarter than the 26 decisions that caused me to go bankrupt. I'm smarter than that. And I learned from it. I've never done it again. Quite the opposite. And I've become a multi-bazillionaire since then. And helped a whole lot of people become millionaires, tens of millions of them since then. Mm-hmm. Teaching the lessons I learned from that. And you just help some people telling this story so they don't get conned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Quit looking for something for nothing. There's no shortcut to any place that's worth going. The best way to get rich quick is don't.
Yeah, exactly.
These are the lessons you've learned.
Yeah, definitely. So now we've been looking at all of our housing options, and we've moved into this tiny RV, and we're just saving money. And I'm planning to start a business. I have $6,000 set aside to start a business because I really was ready to change careers. And so now, there's the rough houses around here that are about $170,000. They probably need a good $50,000-$60,000 of work. And then there's everything in between, all the way to the new houses that are $320,000. And we're going to be here for the next 20 years.
No, you're not.
So,
you might be. You don't know that. You don't know you didn't know 20 years ago you was going to be sitting here. So we don't know that for sure. But get you a house. I don't care. I trust your judgment more than you do. I think you and your husband need to get out of an RV. I can tell you that.
That's not going to last.
I'll be there about 20 minutes. Get something else.
Some people are RV people.
I am not.
I'm not.
Not a cat person, not an RV person, just saying. Today's Ramsey Show question of the day sponsored by Why Refi. When you're tired of making no progress on your defaulted private student loans, Why Refi can help you explore a fresh start with a low fixed rate refinancing. It's time to stop spinning your wheels. Let Why Refi help you. Go to YRefi/Ramsey. That's the letter Y, REFY.com/Ramsey. Might not be in all states.
All right. Today's question comes from Jared in Nevada. He says, my wife and I have been married 50 years. We've both worked over the years, but I always did a little side work to make a little extra cash that I gambled with. We both retired last year. We have a $900,000 house that's paid for. We make about $10,500 a month in retirement and Social Security and have about $450,000 in IRAs. No credit card or car payments. We are both doing okay, but I really miss the gambling. But at 70, I don't want to have to work to gamble, and I don't want to touch any of our savings that we live on. Should I just give up gambling, or do you have any ideas that will work? Well, I wish I knew how much you were spending on gambling. That would give a little bit more insight to this question. I always view gambling in the context of I'm going to Las Vegas and I'm going to gamble X amount of dollars that I budgeted for ahead of time. And so for that purpose, I view it as a line item for entertainment. That's kind of how I view it. But at the same time, Dave, I put a very small percentage of money towards that. If you're talking about high thousands, I don't think that you have obviously the margin to do something like that. If you're talking about, just going and spending $100 on something, I wish I knew exactly, because a lot of people have gambling problems. So I don't know how much you're saying. If you can't handle it in your $10,000, $500 a month budget, then it's too much and you can't do it. That's what I would say.
Well, he didn't want to put it in there.
That's what I'm saying. He
didn't say he couldn't handle it. He said he doesn't.
Yeah,
want
but I
to.
think that if he's thinking it's enough that he would have to dip into savings, that's too much.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So if it can't fit into your monthly budget as a line item of fun or entertainment, then it's too much. So let that be your guide, is what I'd say.
Yeah, I have trouble commenting intelligently on it because I get zero pleasure from that, so I don't do it. It's just not fun to me. I work so hard, and it's not fun to me to give my money to somebody else. And that's not entertaining to me. It's quite the opposite. It's stress-inducing. So I just don't do it. I've never been a gambler. I don't. My wife put a quarter in a slot machine one time on a cruise when we were in our 20s, and she hit We got $250 worth of quarters, and that's probably cost me $10,000 over the years, because she's still looking for that hit again. But
that one time,
yeah, that one time she put that $250 back, and then she's always going to put some more back.
There's an art to
she's
the slot
not a gambler,
machines,
but she's a little bit like Rachel in that regard. So, but no, you don't want to have a gambling problem for sure. And I kind of question. I get it, but I don't understand, that I don't even understand when you and Rachel call it entertainment. It's not to me, because I just don't understand it. So anyway, having said that, it should be a small line item in your monthly budget maximum. And if you can't get over it with that, you got other issues.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. I mean, how much can you, don't get me wrong, some people can really go in, but
you're making $10,000 a month. You put a couple $100 a month in there for gambling, and you, instead of whatever else it is people do for entertainment for a couple $100 a month that make $10,000 a month, and are 70 years old and worth $1.5 million. So you can afford to spend $200 a month on some kind of entertainment. If this is what your choice is, that's fine. But no, you don't need to be dropping $5,000 a month in this.
I do feel like, this is being judgmental, because again, everybody's there. I just feel like gambling that often probably isn't good for you.
No, I don't.
Like once a month.
I'm curious why it's entertaining. Why is it? I enjoy this. What is it? What is it? You get, but people do. They enjoy. It's a rush. The risk it causes.
I like sitting at the table. You have a drink. You're talking to the guy next to you like you're playing blackjack. It's just a.
I can
sit
at a table and have a drink and talk to the guy next to me and not lose money.
But sometimes you
it's
win.
a different table, but I don't have to lose money to do that. So. Because you never get up from those tables wealthier than you sat down. And
listen,
so it's just not,
you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. That is for sure.
I folded them like 38 years ago. So Alexis is with us in Las Vegas. Speaking of Vegas, hey, Alexis, how are you?
Hi, Dave. I'm doing good. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So I'm pretty new to all of your wisdom. Started seeing some videos pop up on my Facebook, kind of dove right in, finished reading Total Money Makeover. Borrowed it from the library, finished it in a few days, and my husband's reading it currently, and he's getting excited about it too.
Good.
We would be on baby step number 2 because
Excellent.
we have a little bit in our savings account from our tax return that we haven't put to anything yet. But the problem or the question I have is, I am ready to feel some pain, for a bit until this debt goes away. But my dilemma is that next year is my 10-year high school reunion. I know that might not matter to some people, but I have been looking forward to it. And my home state is kind of expensive to get back to.
What is it?
And so, what is the state?
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I guess my question is this something that is just off the table, I just need to sacrifice it? Or is it something that since it's a year away, if it's something that we were to include in our budget is still reasonable?
So are you going to be out of debt by then?
No.
Okay.
How much debt do you have?
I think so. So I've got, but me and my husband combined have about 11,000 in 2 credit cards and a line of credit, and then the bulk of my debt is student loans, which is 96 for a useless degree.
What is the degree? Just curious.
Theater.
Oh, boy.
What's your household income?
So right now, my husband works hourly, and he's getting $22 an hour plus overtime. And then I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I do have a kind of a creative side hustle that I've been bringing some money in that previously was fun money, but now I'm no, I can just hustle and make it.
If you took Dave Ramsey and the Total Money Makeover and all the stuff you've been learning out of the picture, you can't afford to go to Hawaii.
Okay.
It makes $22.
Yeah.
Y'all got no money.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you can. I'm not sure how you can budget Hawaiian plane tickets from Vegas, much less staying over there for two
We
people
wouldn't need
out of a
to,
$22 an
pay
hour
for
budget.
staying. Yeah, we would stay with family there, so we wouldn't have to pay for a hotel or anything.
So what's
The biggest
airline ticket
expense
run?
would be the plane fare. Probably about 600 tickets. So another thing that I was considering is it something that if I went just by myself and I didn't stay long, like would that be something budgetable or would that still be off the table? A lot of costs while there would be cut down due to staying with family.
Yeah.
But the plane tickets is the biggest.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have to drop $1,200, and $1,200 in your world's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So some things are going to have to change during this calendar year for this to be logical for you all to do, regardless of how plugged in or fired up you are about the Ramsey stuff, okay?
Right.
Like, what's his career path? Is he working on getting a better job?
Yeah, so he was working in the restaurant industry and ended up leaving that, and he actually did some training in welding. And so right now his job he's doing some welding at his job, but the job itself is not like fully welding, so he probably could.
Yeah, he needs to work on doing something to double his income. I mean, he's making what a 17-year-old can make at Target. And this is not how you set up Hawaiian vacations.
You can't go.
Regardless of Ramsey. That's just the math doesn't work. Investing can seem complicated or confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Whether you're a complete beginner or looking for next-level strategies, the Ramsey Investing Hub has tools and information that can help you invest with confidence. Go to RamseySolutions.com/investing or click the link in the description if you're listening on YouTube or podcast. Mark's in Canada. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
I just want to say it's been a pleasure talking with you guys. Very new to this Ramsey solution. And I have got a question about, I work on a family farm. It's a tender fruit farm, and I've been working here for quite a while. I'm 33 years old. Came right out of college. And there has been zero talk of transitioning ownership. I don't know if it's maybe wrong of me to push this conversation, but I've brought it up a couple times, and it's just kind of been not necessarily shut down, but I guess just pushed back. And I'm wondering if you have any recommendations for me on how to proceed.
Well, we've studied family business and succession planning for about 20 years. And we've seen a lot of families do it poorly, and we've seen a few families do it well. And we've started trying to establish the principles of that because I'm a family business. And 4 years ago, after 14 years, my son, Daniel, moved into the president's office. And for the first time since he's worked here, he reports to me. I'm the CEO. And at that time, we took 50-50 leadership of Ramsey. Today, it's down to 80-20, with the gradually moving me out of the operational leadership of this company and staying in this seat because I want to keep doing this. I like doing this. So this is my retirement. I'm going to do this till I don't make sense. And they have permission to take me off only when I don't make sense. So, and we know what happens when people don't make sense and don't get away from the microphone. It's not good. So, anyway, we're not going to do that. But, yeah, so we've studied this. And a couple of things I can tell you. Is your dad the first generation?
No, my dad is he'd be the third generation.
Wow.
I'm the fourth. Yeah.
Okay. And so it's kind of assumed and in the air that it's going to be handed off in the family, right?
Yeah, yes.
Do you have siblings?
Owned by I do. I have 5 siblings.
And who else is how many people in your dad's generation are the owners?
My dad and my uncle.
Okay. And how many cousins have you got with the uncle?
I have one cousin who's involved. So right now it's just my dad, my uncle, myself, and my cousin.
So your other siblings are not involved in the business?
Not at all.
But your assumption is that the non-involved ones won't have any ownership?
That would be my assumption.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Was that the model that they used with your dad and his brother?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So that's a fair assumption then. That's not unusual, particularly in farming. It's not unusual. All right. Yeah. So I think I don't think it is unreasonable for you. As a matter of fact, I think it's very reasonable of you to want to know what the flip's going on here. And it needs to be said out loud. So here's what happens when the managing generation does not build out a long-term gradual succession plan and announce it to the world. Your other team members don't know what's going to happen when the old man dies. They think the thing's going to fold up like a Walmart tent, or Junior's going to get it, and we don't know if Junior's competent or not. So the other team members are worried about that. Your vendors that you sell to, or your customers that you sell to, are worried what's going to happen when the old man dies, because they don't know if Junior's competent or not, and they're going to be able to get a supply off your farm. The vendors that you buy from, they don't know what they're signing up for dealing with you guys, because your dad has got to be, what is he, 65?
He is 62.
Yeah, okay. So you guys are 10 years late talking about this.
Yeah, and that's my fear. And then the other thing is I don't know how I can ever afford to transition. Like, I don't know what that
Did
looks
your dad
like.
buy it?
The company is large. So my dad grew it from a very small business to a very
large business
for a farm.
Yeah. So I think you need to talk about it. You know, you got me over here. You got me over here working on a tractor, and I can't tell how I'm going to be able to buy this thing, or if you're going to give it to me, because we haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
And I can't sit here in the dirt and not know anymore. Well, I need to know something, because I may need to go. Maybe I need to go get a job.
And what about the uncle? Does he talk about it?
Yes, the uncle's more willing, and he's trying to bring up profit sharing, but it just doesn't ever seem to go anywhere.
So your uncle is also trying to push the conversation.
I think you sit down with the two of them and you have a frank conversation. It says this: you men are incredible. You have built an incredible business. Not having a plan to systematically communicate to me and the rest of the team and our customers what's going to happen here is going to be the doom of this business. And I'm not okay with that. I want to honor all of the hard work you've done. I want to honor you great men by being able to continue your life's work here. And I want to pay you honor. But the way I'm going to pay you honor is that we need a game plan, boys. And I don't have to have it tomorrow, and I don't have to have control tomorrow. I'm not trying to take over. This is not a coup. But I am not going to sit here and, as you fall back in the grave, toss the keys out, because that'll doom the business. One thing we discovered, Mark, as we studied all these companies is that, and farms included, that if they literally grab their chest and toss the keys out as they fall back in the grave, the percentage of those businesses that are open 4 years later is almost none. The more gradual the succession plan, the higher the probability of the continued operation of the business. The sustainability of it. Because you doom the place by an 80-year-old still sitting there and grasping control because their identity is so tied into the fact that they're the boss. And now they got a 60-year-old son who's neutered.
Yeah,
this is what we've discovered. And it's why I've been so systematic. I'm only 64, dude, and I'm almost out of Ramsey, other than the on-air parts. Okay? I mean, I'm still around. I'm still the CEO. I'm still in control. But the day-to-day operational things, Daniel and our leadership team are handling about 80% of it these days. And I could easily still be doing it. I love doing it. I love running it. But it's not good for my son. It's not good for my customers, and it's not good for my business, for Dave's little boy identity issues to get in the way of all that crap. And so, it's time to be a man. And that's what this comes down to. So I don't know if this will help you or not. Play it back for your dad. I understand how he's holding on, but his lack of communication and lack of laying out a game plan is bad leadership. It's bad leadership. And it's not fun to turn loose of stuff that you love for the good of the thing. Mm-hmm. But, it's kind of like, when your kid goes off to college, the last one went off to college, it's just like, we're done. It's kind of sad. But here's the trick. You hope we're done. We don't want them to come back. We don't want failure to launch.
Right.
Failure to launch is not success.
That's right.
So, I'm sad that you're leaving, but be gone with you. Our scripture of the day, 2 Corinthians 4:16. Therefore we do not lose heart, though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. Thomas Edison said, if we did all the things we are capable of, we would literally astound ourselves.
I love that.
That's pretty cool. Rachel is with us in New York City. Hi, Rachel. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Hi, Jade. Thank you for taking my call today. Big fan of the show.
Sure. Thank you. How can we help?
So my husband and I, we make a decent income. Our take-home is just a little over $9,000 a month, and we're currently on baby steps 3B, while simultaneously doing baby steps 4 and 5. We currently have $34,000 saved towards our down payment, but the homes around us are around $900,000 to $1 million. Even if we look further out 30 minutes or an hour, the homes are still in the $700,000 to $800,000 price range. There is the option to purchase a co-op, which is much more affordable, but our friends and family advise against it due to strict HOA board rules and us not technically owning the property, but the shares of it. Ideally, we would like to spend no more than $3,000 on the mortgage, property taxes and insurance included, but according to the mortgage calculator on the Ramsey website, we would need to save $500,000 towards a down payment in order to make this happen. My question is, should we go the co-op route and then upgrade to a home later down the line, or should we just continue to save money in a high-yield savings account for the next 15, 20 years or so to pay for a home full in cash?
Well, to start with, 15 or 20 years, you're extrapolating your existing income with no raises, and that's not realistic.
Correct.
So
right.
That's a wrong set of assumptions to do the formula. So you're exaggerating that. The co-op in New York, in Manhattan, is not an unusual way to buy a property at all. Anywhere else in America, it would be highly unusual. But there, it's normal. Okay. The thing that you have to be aware of, and that your friends and family or whoever's, bringing up, is what the HOA bylaws are and what's governing this thing. Because where you can get sideways on a co-op is if it's misgoverned. Mm-hmm. And then you've got a real mess on your hands, and you don't get the appreciation then. because your HOA fees and stuff go through the roof because of mismanagement, no pun intended. And you can and if the HOA fees get out of control, the value goes away because nobody wants to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
so what you've got to do is get something in a very predictable environment where, okay, I can look at the HOA fees and I can look at the operations statements for the last 5 years and I see a very steady environment. And you look and say, okay, the use and the resale and so forth in these bylaws is not so restrictive that I hate living there. Okay? Because some of these places get very militaristic, don't they?
Right.
That's what you don't. I mean, you don't want to lose the joy of being there just because everybody's, it's HOA completely on steroids and out of control. So if you can get something where the HOA is reasonably operated in terms of the environment and the lifestyle around it, the human beings dealing with it, and that they've been very steady, it's okay if it increases because costs have increased, but that the increases are reasonable over the last 5 years, and in other words, you get all these indications in your due diligence that the operations of the HOA are done properly and efficiently. Then, if you do all that, then a co-op is as good as a condo, is as good as a fee simple. Because technically, in a condominium, you're in a very similar situation somewhere else in America. If you bought a condominium, you're buying into a similar thing to a co-op. It's a little different, but you still got the same issues there. And if you buy into, I'm in a single family in a golfing community that's got all these other expenses associated with the community. So if they mismanage that thing, they can destroy the value of my freestanding single family because they run the dadgum costs up, and it makes it unappealing to live there for resale. And so that you can run into that with any time you've got an HOA of any kind involved. But just study that and watch that, and I think you're okay to move into the co-op. Co-ops, again, if you've never done deals in New York City or don't know about deals in New York City, the co-op's a very weird transaction.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Well, it's as prevalent as condominiums in other places.
Oh, okay.
In other words, it's not unusual at all there. It's very normal. So, and I personally don't have a problem with the way they're structured. Again, I'm going to look at it, though. If I buy a condominium, I've got a bunch of condos. We own probably 15 condos that are rentals. And one of the things before we bought into those, not only were we looking for a deal because they were investment properties, but we're also looking at how the dadgum thing's managed. Are these HOA fees going to make me wish I didn't own it? Because they take all my rental profits by the time they... with their screwed up sideways management stuff. Kathy is with us in Albany, New York. Hey, Kathy, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine, and I hope you are the same.
We are.
And good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Doing okay, but in the middle of a decision-making process and really having a hard time with it. I'm 74, and my husband is 82. We've been, over the years, not very good about saving. We've been giving. We've been doing a lot of giving. And that has brought us to a place where we really don't have anything except our monthly and yearly income, our pension, Social Security. And I'm living in what was a childhood home that I did inherit, but we put money into it. We took out a mortgage. The mortgage is roughly a remaining of $260, and the house right now is probably worth somewhere around $740,000 to $795,000. But it's a difficult place for us to be in because my husband's had a lot of health issues, and again, it's a family home. And I really kind of don't know where to go for what we're paying here now. And like I said, we have debt. And so that's
how much debt have you got? Just the house?
No, approximately $60,000.
On what?
Lines of credit and credit card debt.
Why?
Not currently.
What did you buy?
That's a good question. Well, basically, because we had no no savings or anything. The bills that we have coming in here and what goes out,
you can't live on your income.
How much is the pension and the Social Security together?
Each month? Roughly for each month, it's around $6,000.
And how much is the mortgage?
How much is your mortgage payment?
About $1,200.
Okay. So where's the rest of the money going? To the debt?
Taxes are high up here. Land taxes, school taxes are high. House insurance is high. We have our car insurance. Then you have your oil and propane bill. Lots of the internet.
Yeah. Kathy, I don't want to run out of time, and the clock's bearing down on me. I'm so sorry. I wish I could take 2 hours.
That's okay.
2 hours with you, and because this is an important decision. So ultimately, you guys have got to get your budget to balance. What you're describing is you can't sustain with what you're doing.
No.
So something has to change for you to sustain, and that's either an income increase or an outgo decrease. And so you're probably looking at selling the house if you don't increase your income somehow. And you can just smile and say, when we gave all that money away, we gave away the house because it's one of the things we gave away. And you didn't technically give it away, but you left yourself in a position where you couldn't keep it. And that's where you set yourself up to be. And I'm so sorry. I hope you can figure out some way to get this budget to balance and make it sustainable and you could keep it. But it doesn't sound like it's fun for you anymore. I'm sorry. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
Hey, you guys, I was shocked to learn that 88% of you out there are sharing The Ramsey Show. I mean, that is so incredible. Thank you so much. And I want to tell you that we're making it even easier to share. So this June, we have pulled together the brand new Ramsey 101 YouTube playlist, a quick start collection of how to get started walking the Ramsey plan. Now, this playlist is perfect for that one person in your life who needs help winning with money and just doesn't know where to start. So here's what's inside: what the baby steps are and why they actually work, how the debt snowball helps you pay off debt fast, and how to build wealth and invest for the future, and so much more. So here's what you need to do. Click the link at the top of the show notes. It'll take you straight to the YouTube playlist. Copy it, text it, send it in a group chat. Just say, hey, I thought this might help. Because one playlist shared at the right time could be the turning point. One share, one playlist, one step could change everything for that one person in your life. So click the link, share The Ramsey Show, and let's help someone out there start winning with